Hey everyone, Jamie McKean and Mike Simpson from THOR Motorsports. Just thought we'd recap our week for race 1 of the TMR Off-Road series. We started out with a new build, so our race started with the race to go racing, I guess, as most people have. We finished the truck, maybe we got ready for the dyno
before the race.
Yeah, it was last minute for us, but we were ready for the dyno about 2 weeks before the race. We took it out to Champion Motorsports to go see Kevin. He's the tuner there. Shout out to Kevin. Kevin's phenomenal. The truck, we actually got it running. It's a Blueprint Motorsports 427 we put in this truck. We got it running actually by accident. We had it running, fired up. Seemed to be running fine after...
Just our luck. Our fuck up will cause a way to make it run.
Exactly. So we were running it for a little bit, not pushing or anything, because we just had a base tune in it. And then maybe the 4th or 5th time we started it, we ran it a little longer, started to hear a vacuum leak. Mike got poking around the engine, found out it was a brake booster port.
Yeah. Well, there was multiple vacuum leaks, but one of them was the brake booster port.
Yeah, brake booster port was unplugged, 2 up by the throttle body, and we capped those off or routed the lines, and that was enough to cause a problem for us. So, anyways, we got to Champion Motorsports, and Kevin asked a couple quick questions about the throttle body, the motor, the cam, everything. Took one swipe at it. We weren't even on the dyno yet. We were just in the parking lot. He made some adjustments, said hit the button. We hit the button, it fired, stalled. He made a couple more adjustments. 10 seconds later, the thing fired up, idle. No problems. So Kevin's a wizard. If anybody needs any dining, go see Champion in Scarborough. He's phenomenal and answered every text questions we had.
Definitely a smart guy when it comes to that stuff, that's for sure.
Yeah, Mike's more up on the what the motor needs and you know the readings and everything than that me, and even Mike watching him.
But tuning is not me.
Yeah, he's
I tried. It's not me.
He's the guy to go see. So anyways, we get it on the dyno. Kevin gets it running down in the idle lower end, gets all the settings right for what information he has for the motor. We go to do a dyno pull. It 3rd gear, sitting, my guess is somewhere around 3,500 or so. Kevin gave it a throttle smash instantly to the rev limiter. So the first thought was, okay, this thing's spinning on the dyno, maybe we had the 40-inch Maxxis tires on there. So they applied glue to the tires to try and stick it to the dyno a little more, just to make sure that wasn't the problem. Did it again, multiple runs, instantly spiking. Tried high range, tried low range, made no difference. So we narrowed that down to it was flashing the torque converter. So we made some calls and text right away. A good buddy of ours, Brad Dean's got a drag car making somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 horsepower.
Way more than us.
Yeah. He had a spare converter he loaned us, so we were able, that was on Friday, we left Champion, we had the converter back in testing the truck on Sunday. Test went pretty good.
It was working. It was
moving. We weren't sure about the air fuel ratio, but we had thrown an air fuel gauge in, videotaped that to send it to Kevin. Kevin said, good enough, go racing, it's safe. It was running somewhere in the 12.2 to 12.4 in the top end. So it wasn't going to hurt the motor. But again, we had no idea the converter was I believe it was 4,000 stall. So we didn't know the effects that was going to have on the race. So we got that in Sunday. Our race was the following Saturday. So we made a big push that week to get the truck all ready to meet tech and everything. I took the Friday off before the race, worked on the truck all day, and I got to thank Mark Gallery from the welding shop. He come over, helped button stuff up and did some welding, helped get stuff mounted. And also Sean McGarry was here till about 11 o'clock with Mark as well on Friday night. Just laying down some vinyl, getting stickers, trying to make the thing look like it should be racing anyway. So Saturday morning we get up, we go to the race. The race was really well organized. Eugene, that looks after the series for TMR at Free Flow, he did a fantastic job. I thought it was super organized.
Oh, absolutely it was.
Eugene's super fair, but also
especially during COVID times where everything's messed up to begin with.
Yeah, so it's not normal. We did no drivers meeting. Everything was communicated by email. And us missing the last couple of years of racing, there was a lot of drivers there that had been out racing. We weren't sure really even where to go, how it was working, but when we got there, Eugene was on top of it, super nice and accommodating, but also straight to the point, no BS, which is what we like. You can have a beer with the guy after, but when it's race time, he's got a job to do. And he did a great job, I thought. It was probably one of the better organized events I've been to, and that's 20 years of going to events.
Yep.
So qualifying format, you could do, well, we did a parade lap of the course first. That was basically our pre-run.
A very muddy
qualifying. We had brand new Maxxis 40-inch Treps. And I don't know what you were thinking during that parade lap, but I thought we were going to be buried.
Yeah, so did I.
Like we were literally doing 15 kilometers an hour, and the brand new Treps with such an edge on them was throwing mud everywhere, just doing the parade lap for the race. So we made multiple comments during the parade lap that the truck's gonna be 500 pounds heavier when we get out. Lucky enough, over the race, track dried out super quick.
Thank God.
So we come back from the parade lap.
And got a lot stickier too.
Yeah, track tacked up really good. Like you needed some horsepower in the corners if you were gonna lay into it, because you had to break the tires loose or it was gonna bite. We went into qualifying. Our first lap, pretty conservative, and also a little bit, got some wheeling rust in there. I haven't been behind the wheel for probably 3 years in a race atmosphere. I thought it was good. A couple of corners, I felt a little uncomfortable just not knowing what the truck was going to do. I had 0 seat time, and from your side, I don't know.
It was good because we eased into it.
Yeah.
Push it a little bit, take a lap or two, push a little bit more, another lap, push a little bit more. It was good. It was a nice way to ease back into it.
Yeah. So we ended up, first lap, we come back in for qualifying, and we qualify. We were in 5th spot then, but the way they do the qualifying, you can run as many qualifying laps as you can get in within I think it's about an hour and a half time frame. So if you're willing to keep pushing your truck and risking damage, you can keep going back out. So we come in, we were 5th with a real conservative run, and the top guys were battling it out. We made a minor shock adjustment on the bypass, just in the rear, just to see how it would, we're new to bypasses, so we made some adjustments just to see how it would ride out. Went out, second run, completely different run, just more from a comfort level. We were hitting the corners better.
Keeping in mind, we're testing out a brand new truck.
Mm-hmm.
So just feeling things out, pushing it as we see comfortable.
Yeah. So we come back in, we were still 5th. Top guys were battling it out, which 5th was good. Mike and I had talked before, and we said we don't want to be in the front, just getting back into it. Didn't want those guys pushing off the start. Want to be in the back to be able to see what's going on, check the truck. All the gauges are on Mike's side, so he's monitoring that, making sure everything's good. So we're like, okay, we'll start somewhere mid-pack. We wanted to be behind the fast guys and ahead of the guys that weren't as fast. That was our goal, and that's almost exactly where we ended up. We had 2 real fast guys behind us.
I was going to say, it turned out there was a couple fast guys that just stayed back during qualifying.
Yeah.
That were behind us, but we're pushing it during the actual race.
Yeah, there's a bunch of quick guys there you got to worry about. So then we finished our qualifying. We got some time to race. We're waiting. Qualifying laps are still going. So the top 4 guys are battling it out, trying to best each other to move up the race board really for the start. And it is the type of race, if you can get out front and get clean air, because it is 13 laps of a track. There's a lot of single track on it. If you can get out front, you're fast. you want that pole position. If you know your truck's good and it's going to hold up, you want to take that pole position at that race. So I understand why those guys that have a proven truck and have run it all year wanted to get out front. Our buddies from TMR Customs and good sponsor of us, Tim and Mike, they were pushing hard in qualifying. Took a hard roll. Neither one of us seen it, but we heard the engine stop, and in the middle of qualifying, when the engine shuts down, it's never good. From what we understand, and you talked to Tim more about it after. I think he said it bit hard.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. He doesn't know what happened. He said he took the turn exactly like he took every other time around on that turn. So I'm wondering if there was maybe something that happened in the steering that caused that to happen, but I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
so
up in the air.
They took a somewhat a barrel roll, a cartwheel in the corner, shoved the whole front end full of mud. They come back in. We seen them getting towed in, and it's always been our thing. You know, if somebody we know or is willing to accept help, we ran over. So we started helping them right away. A bunch of steering damage, more on the filter, the reservoir, line, stuff like that. So we found a place close by with a filter. Tim from TMR left to go get that while Mike stayed back, worked on the truck. And me and Mike were helping as much as we could. Tim got back with the filter. They get the truck, get the filter going, start bleeding the steering. All of a sudden, steering starts turning by itself. Tim would start it out right. It would just go to full lock right without him touching the wheel. He'd start left, full lock left without touching the wheel. In our experience,
It screamed orbital valve.
Yeah, in our experience, we've had that before with air.
And orbital valve.
Yeah, we were hoping it was air. Turns out it wasn't. We actually had a spare orbital out of our rock crawler that's been in a tote for probably 10 years. So we had no idea how good it was. But anyways, they humped their ass and got that swapped out, put in right before the start of the race. And they run an orbital that I think it's like 1.8 turns lock to lock, and the one I gave them was 4. So I'm sure Tim's arms were tired at the end
purpose.
of it. Yeah, we like them, but we still want to beat them. So they started at third, I think. They still had third spot in qualifying because I think there was one between us. They either started second or third. So anyways, we get to the race. They make it to the start line, so we're happy about that. Race starts with the converter that we borrowed. We knew we had to keep our truck up in the revs, otherwise that converter was going to pull the motor down. Locked up so hard and being such a high stall, I was shifting the truck somewhere around 6,200 from first to second and trying to keep it up in the revs. And there was a corner right tight there, so I was shift late, try and get through the corner with some power. And we started good. Like we caught the top 3 guys right going into the single track. And we got caught behind TMR. TMR was having problems right away. The orbital didn't fix their problem. So we got caught right behind them going to the single track. So we had to be a little patient there. But at that point, I was still thinking truck feels good. Everything in qualifying went good. I think we're going to be good. Like we'll get TMR will move over. We'll run these front 3 guys down sometime over the next lap or 2. And
Ideally.
and see what the truck has, right? Like that was our thing. We're going to go out there, see what the truck's got. And hopefully during the build, we didn't miss anything. But so we went, I don't know, it was maybe 4 or 5 corners in the trees. TMR moved over for us. And instantly when they moved over, I knew we had a problem. And there was a quick left to right. As soon as we made the left and went to counter steer right, it was like the orbital had no power steering. It locked up hard. And then I could power through it. And then any movement left to right, that would happen. But if all the turns one direction, it was fine. We could go through smooth, no problem.
It's funny seeing things from my point of view. I can tell when you're having a problem steering because I know how you normally steer. As we're going around turns, we're overrunning turns, and I'm like, okay, And mind you, while this is all happening, our communications are messed up.
Right.
I can talk to Jamie, but he can't talk to me. So he can talk, but I can't hear it.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what's going on from his perspective. So I'm talking to him, keeping him aware of everything that's going on in the truck, but I don't know his input back. So we're coming around to these turns and we're not turning like we should be turning from my point of view.
You probably thought these couple years off, Jamie's driving went for shit.
Like, okay, no, I figured after the first couple turns, there's something going on here. There's something wrong with the steering because I could see him laboring to get the steering wheel around, whereas it's never been a problem. We've had a lot of turns to the steering wheel before, but not a lot of force to the steering wheel. So
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah, and it wasn't long. We were, it wasn't long. The guys on the lead lap, the two faster guys that were behind us, they took a little bit to get around TMR because I think when TMR moved over, they didn't realize the guy was right on us. So they come back in. They took a little bit to get around, but they didn't take long to catch us. And one of the best things we put in the truck,
Rear view camera.
yeah, the series calls for mirrors, and we've had mirrors on every race truck, but they're
Useless
good.
mirrors.
They're good for a minute and a half. The best thing they're good for is unloading it off the trailer. After that, they're pretty much useless. So we've been through that enough. We put a full color 7.5 inch screen to a backup camera and powered it full time. So it's always in display and it's right up in front of us. You'll see it. We're going to pair some GoPro footage up with this. You'll see it in the GoPro footage. We might even highlight it for you just so you can see. But that backup camera, specifically, especially for this race where you're having problems, because the last thing you want to do is affect the leader. So we were basically driving. Mike's watching the gauges. I'm watching in front of us and the backup camera, and Mike's checking the backup camera too. But it's angled a little more. I can see it while I'm driving. So that was the best thing all race that we come out of and went, you know what? That was hands down the best decision as far as racing, single lap. You got our helmets. We in the series, you got to run some type of Hans device. We run the next gen, and you literally, if they're installed right, you can't turn your head very far. So to try and check a mirror even at race speed with a window net in the way and everything else, it's not conducive to being able to do it properly.
For sure.
So the camera was good. As far as I know, we didn't affect anybody's race. Lots of times we kind of had a feeling when the leaders were coming, we pulled over anyway.
We had someone try to nominate us for
Yeah.
sportsmanlike
Yeah,
for moving out of the way.
One of the volunteers on the track said, if there's a sportsman award, I give it to you because you guys moved over every time somebody was behind you. So that was good to hear anyway, because I mean, we think we're moving over in time, but sometimes we could go a couple minutes not see someone. And but I know we didn't affect any of the leaders. They most of them give us a bleep of the siren or something on the way by for moving over. So anyways, we're in that first lap. We got a steering problem. And we made it through the first lap, I think, without stopping. We just knew there was a steering issue. Mm-hmm. But we went through, so the way the course is laid out, there's a short course track section, and then a wooded, almost single track, but with some passing zones and fields and stuff, and then back out onto the short track. It was a 4.8 kilometer lap, I believe. It's a great race to run, fun race, like really, really well laid out.
Definitely very fast and enjoyable.
Yeah, not a great first race for us because not a lot of rock, not hard on the truck. It's almost more like a rally cross type race for our trucks. Like the rocks that were there weren't going to hurt the truck. You could run that race in two-wheel drive and you'd be fine. So it was a great first race for us to test everything. But we go through the short course part, back into a tight wooded, come out in the short course. And now we're having a steering problem, but on the short course, it's not so evident because they're long sweeping corners. And as long as we didn't have to recover left to right real fast, the truck was good. The steering was good. So on the short course, we could lay into it. So we laid into it a little bit, still knowing we got a damaged truck, and obviously we're not going to win. So we're trying to save the truck. And then we get back in the trees again, and you start calling out transmission temps. I think around 210. At first on the short course.
Yeah, they were getting up there.
It was climbing 210, and then it wasn't long after we pushed on the short course. It was
I'm okay with 210 as long as it stays at 210. That's on the higher end, but it started climbing up there 215, 220. Next thing you know, the gauge is pretty close to 250. And
Yeah.
at that point, you're talking transmission failure. So obviously, we got to shut it down at that point.
Yeah. So we get up there, up towards the top of the gauge. We pulled over, left the truck running. We weren't sure if maybe it was a cooler problem. I mean, we had a pretty good idea what the problem was, but we weren't 100% sure if it was a cooler or something like that. So we left the truck running. We can't hear the fans over the truck we can't hear anything really. We can't hear anybody's siren. We can't.
Couldn't hear you.
Yeah. We can't hear anything. Truck's so loud. So either we got to quiet the truck down, or if you're out there behind us, I know the rules say no nerfing, but give us a bump. Anyways, we're out there. We can't hear anything, and then just sitting there idling, the trans temp starts dropping pretty quick. So we know, okay, the fans are working, fluid's circulating through the cooler.
It's just creating too much heat.
Just too much heat. So we're running high range in the truck, just because there is some spots you got to go to the legs. And our truck, we're still using the transfer case out of the old truck, and it was, the old truck we were building with more rock and speed in mind, so it's 3-to-1, which if I could do it again today, if I ordered a brand new transfer case, I'd order a 1.5-to-1. And if there was no issue with driveline length or budget or anything, I'd probably put a Northwest black box in front of that. So I'd have I think it's a 2.72 and then a 1.5 behind it. To me, give you the best options of everything for what we're doing up here.
But our race courses change a lot, though.
Yeah, and every course is different.
I mean, Pennsylvania, we saw a fair amount of fairly technical rock with a lot of go as hard as you can, straight lines through the forest and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, there was a lot of fire roads we were running down when we ran Line Mountain, and a lot of what most would consider nuisance rocks. But the nuisance rocks down there are, for a fairly long period of time, you can be in them up a hill, and down there's just so many trucks on the course. Like, you're almost, if anything's hard on the truck, it's getting around the other vehicles and stuff down there. So we were able to run mostly high range down there. Up here, when we ran Perry Sound a few years ago, we ran in low range just because it was just a series of short drag races. And that's what most of the races have been up here in the past, is basically a drag race into the next corner. So you need good power, good torque, and really good brakes. Whoever had that throughout the race and could drive was going to be near the top. That was the three things you needed to get there. Now it's a little different. The course is getting a little faster, multiple trucks. We'll see. We might end up having to make a transfer case change.
A lot faster.
Yeah, the guys are faster, better trucks, more reliable, better drivers. It's just, everything's better now. It's so fun to come back to. Like, really, it's a lot of work. We got a lot going on in our day-to-day life, but once you get out there and you see all the guys are driving and pushing and the competition kicks in, I mean, it's just a ton of fun. There's nothing more exciting and thrilling getting out there. So we come back. So we're building all kinds of transmission heat. That led us to pull over, I don't know, 5 times, I think, throughout the race. And for 6 to 8 minutes per time. We checked the GoPro footage, 6 to 8 minutes. So we were running, as long as we didn't push the truck and kept the truck, just running at a moderate pace the whole lap, we were actually getting faster going through the trees, running slower, just because we were picking better lines, getting smoother, not lifting, not jamming on the brakes, coming into a corner hard. We were just flowing through all that, and we were actually picking up speed watching the video back. And you still gotta be careful. There's multiple broke down trucks. And of course, we came around the corner once. Andrew Hill was laying on his side right in front of us.
Yeah, multiple marshals jumped out in front of us. Whoa!
Yeah. So you got to be on your toes a little bit when you're in the tight trees like that, because we came around a blind corner, and Andrew Hill has got a diesel buggy. He's up on his side against a tree and taking up half the single track. And we come around the corner, but good thing we were nursing the truck. It was okay. So we, were able to sneak by him. We come around the next lap, he was gone. So the volunteers, recovery crew, those guys are awesome. Like they were already there, and we know that roll happened just in front of us because there was still, you know, smoke coming from the engine and stuff, probably from some fluids or something. But yeah, those guys jumped right in there. They had it cleaned up by the time we come back around.
Good time to give a shout out to all the volunteers too.
Yeah,
We appreciate you guys so much. We couldn't do what we love to do without you guys doing that.
yeah.
So
You guys are awesome, and it's so much fun talking to you guys after the race. Like some of the when we're in the truck, we don't get to see a lot. So some of the stuff
Yeah.
you guys come back and tell us, like, oh, this guy did this.
yeah,
around
coming
here.
across the road for the first time, coming
Yeah.
across a live road, and you guys are like, oh yeah, you guys were good, no problem. We had no idea how to approach that road because nobody said anything. So we went, I feel, ultra conservative going across the road.
Yeah,
And then like they're giving us signs like speed up, you can speed up a bit. Like, okay, so you sort of feel it out as you're going along, but
yeah. The volunteers did
big
awesome.
shout out to those guys.
Awesome job, you know, and like I made a joke before the race. I hope I never see any of them near my truck during the race, but after the race, you know, come on over. But during the race, I hope I don't need you. But I'm glad to have you guys there. It's nice to know someone's out there
Yes.
to lay a hand. And you know, if you ever did have a bad roll, like Andrew's roll was pretty mild from what we can tell. He was thumbs up.
Oh, you know
good
what?
to go.
Even just when we pulled over to cool down transmission, a lot of times we'd be somewhere near a Marshall station, and the marshals would come over. You guys okay?
Yeah.
And no, we're good. We're good. We're hot. I don't know how you say hot
Yeah.
when you're in your helmet and your fire suit and all this shit, but like we're fine. We're just sitting.
Yeah, they'd always wait. I don't know. They were sitting there thinking these guys aren't going to win this way. Maybe we should go tell them they got to get going. But it's yeah, the guys.
Like, obviously they're not on fire, but like something's wrong.
Yeah, the guys
So-
and girls are awesome that are out there, and we see them posting pictures and videos and stuff they're taking of vehicles going by, and that's cool too. It's always fun getting to check out stuff, you know, the week following and see pictures of everybody. But obviously cool to see what your own truck looks like out there and everything.
Big props
So, yeah.
to them.
Yeah.
For sure.
So we're out there. We pulled in the pits, lap 3, I think. Checked the steering to see what was going on with that. Because at that point, the trans is hot, but we're thinking if we can get the steering working right, at least this is my thought at the time, if we can get the steering working right, we can be pretty quick through these trees. And then we just can't push it on the short course. But our whole goal at that point was, let's get through this race and get to the finish, because we know there's guys going to be. We've already seen trucks broke down off to the side. It's a battle of attrition, really. And so we know there's trucks going to be out, and we know who the fast guys are because they're lapping us. So we know who's out front. We know who's went around us already. We know who we haven't seen. So we got an idea of where we are. So we're like, okay, we got to stay on course. We got to keep up the pace. And the way the race format is, you have 2 hours to do your 13 laps. It's fastest 1 to 13 laps, but there's a time cutoff. You got 2 hours. So we got to fill out the 2 hours. So we checked the steering, figured out, okay, it's just, we had a brand new orbital we put on, a 185cc orbital to get.
We figured out we didn't know.
Yeah. we were going from like 4 turns lock to 2.5, put a brand new orbital on, and the pump, and shout out to PSC, they overnighted the orbital, got it to us the week before the race through Tim at TMR Customs. The TMR Customs helps us out whenever we need it. Like, so we got the orbital changed the Friday before the race.
Keeping in mind, we went to a completely different truck and a lot of stuff changed. So it was a lot of stuff to learn new and
Steering
find
cylinder.
problems with.
Yeah, double-ended ram was different.
The steering
bigger
was
volume.
completely different, and it was the last thing on our mind.
Yeah. And during qualifying, it never gave us a problem because all the corners were left-hand turns. And if we had to counter steer in a corner, it wasn't a quick enough movement to cause a problem. So we had no idea. And it wasn't until the, quick left to right that we figured out there was an issue. So anyways, we limp it through all the laps. And as we're going, there was more trucks dropping off.
I wouldn't say limp it through. We still did pretty good.
We did a decent pace.
Considering.
Decent, but like not race pace, obviously.
No.
Not race pace. We're driving to finish. We're not driving to win.
Yes, and that was the point.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we just wanted to finish.
Yeah. We know in these races, if you finish, you're going to be somewhere
You're getting points.
Probably in the top 10, but you're going to be in the points. So we get going around, and I don't know, we pull over, and at some point we noticed the leaders for the first couple laps were so tight. They were
Right
wheel to wheel, bumper to bumper, and it was, I wish we could have kept up to them, because I can't imagine how much fun those guys were having. Probably not the guy out front. I think Dustin was out front, and I know that's stressful when guys are running you down. I've been in that position. When you got two guys on you like that, and you can't shake them, they're just sitting back there waiting for you to make a mistake. And the thing is, when you're leading like that, you don't know how hard they're pushing. So you don't know if they have stuff left in the tank, and they're just waiting for you to mess up, or they're just setting a pace with you until they want to go by. So I think Dustin was out front for quite a while, but when we pulled in the pits, he was in there, and Bill Gallet was in the pits looking at his truck with him, just standing beside it, and Dustin was asking him questions, and I think they figured out it was front ring and pinion. So we left that pit. So front ring and pinion gone. As we said, the course was more of like a rallycross type course. So Dustin threw that thing two-wheel drive and back out on course, letting it eat. And he drives that thing hard. Dustin's a great driver. I remember a couple of years ago, first time I seen him run, and Dustin's a guy full of questions. And now he's Dustin runs that truck hard. He's a good driver. I think he qualified top spot too, was first off the line. And that truck works really good. I think he's a 2-to-1 low range, so I don't think he's huge on the horsepower when he was telling me. But with the 2-to-1 low range, he can get up and let it run, and he's really good.
Really nice built truck.
Yeah. So Dustin fell off, and then we were going. We were monitoring the leaders coming around. It was Dustin, and it was Bill, and I forget who else was up there from him. It was Carl, Dustin, Bill, and JP. Yeah. We're all pretty tight for a lot of times. They were coming around. So all of a sudden,
based on our point of view.
Yeah, based from what we could see, running around the course. All of a sudden, we don't see, we seen Dustin in the pits, so we knew he had a problem. We get back out on course. We still see Bill ripping, and we still see Carl ripping. Then all of a sudden, Carl seemed to fall off for a little bit. When we say Carl, that's Carl Knack. Carl Knack's I've been competing with Carl since rock crawling, I don't know, early 2000s, mid 2000s, somewhere, long time. And Carl's had the same truck, but done changes over the years and raced all over the place. Carl's running King of the Hammers. He's run Lime Mountain. He run Roush Creek Series. He runs up here. He competed in rock crawling. So there's no one probably that has more seat time in the truck they have.
And the way he works with his wife.
Yeah.
Those two, driver, co-driver.
Yeah. Carl drives like an animal.
Unparalleled.
Carl drives like an animal, and his wife looks like she's lounging in a chair. You can tell they're 100% confident in each other, and they do a great job. And that buggy that Carl's got, or race car, I guess, I'm a race truck to me, but Carl's is a car probably. I despise calling them a race car, but whatever. So they that car of his is super nimble. It's got a decent amount of power, but I really think the advantage comes from him driving.
Oh, absolutely.
Like when we watch him drive, he's not guessing out there. He's not unsure of anything.
He knows that rig very well. Sherry, I believe his wife's name, Cherie.
Yeah.
I don't want to pronounce that wrong. I'm sorry. They communicate together. I've never been in cab with them, so I don't know, but I've seen them in multiple races. They do amazing together.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they're a really good team.
My hat's off to them, man.
Yeah, I know Carl usually only runs certain races up here. I hope they're at every event, because I look forward to...
He's a good opponent.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll raise the level.
Yep.
He's one of those guys. There's certain guys around that'll just raise the level, and as much as you like him, you just want to beat him. And I love Carl, but that's one guy I'm like, okay, I know if I'm in front of Carl, I'm doing well, because the guy's quick. And there's a bunch of them that are quick, but
Yep.
he's probably the most experienced until Bill Gallet gets his motor back in. Bill Gallet is just as experienced too, but he wasn't at this race. But they're probably the two most experienced by a large margin in the series. So it's fun to have those two guys out there. And Carl races, he's pretty quick and darty. You don't see him too much. Bill, I like racing. Me and Bill always end up somehow wheel into the side panel or window or whatever. And I come out of more races laughing with Bill Gallet.
Oh, Bill loves everything.
Yeah. It don't matter how you race Bill. It's gonna be fun at the end. I've had more fun with that guy on a track. It's like somebody gave a bunch of teenagers go-karts. It's like we don't know any better. And that's how we run out there, and I love it. There's certain guys you can run that way, and other guys you don't know, and you're trying to be a good racer. But you come into a corner in a tight spot and it's Bill. It's a good time to practice a pit maneuver because he's not going to care, and it's not going to phase him anyway.
Part of being a good racer, though, is knowing your opponents too.
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't know.
So, we see them going. We see Carl drop off. We found out after the race that Carl's transmission was getting hot too, so he just cooled it down for a couple laps, took it easy. And Bill McGibbon, I believe it's McGibbon, he's from out Ottawa way. They rolled right in front of us too.
Those greasy clowns, right?
Yeah. Bill and Glenn Page was his co-driver for this race. Who's normally Bill Gallet's. Yeah. So, and Glenn Page will push you to the limits of anything, no matter what you're doing.
Fuck.
You're having a beer with Glenn, it's gonna get aggressive. So I could see, Glenn Page has got a lot of experience in that seat too, and I'm sure Bill probably had a fantastic time with him in the passenger seat.
It's not an easy thing to do, sitting in that seat.
No, it's an unnerving thing. I'm a driver. I could sit in the passenger, but I wouldn't like it. So they roll over. We get around them, and then we get going, and we see. We started. One of the other top guys, I forget who it was, that was pulled off to the side. And then, so we know right now, we knew we were running somewhere in the 5, 6, 7 range, but we're starting to drive around some trucks that we knew were fast. So we know at this point, get to the finish, we're good.
We knew we were getting up there.
Yeah, we were talking when we pulled over because we're overheating. We're like, I think I have a chance at maybe top 5 to 7, just by the trucks we seen pulled over or stopped. So we just knew we had to finish. So we were running. We get down to the last couple laps, and the last lap comes and I back off because I'm like, okay, just get the truck to the finish line. What I didn't know, and I forget her name, but one of the helpers, volunteers, was at the finish line giving me one of these the same time we got the white flag, and I'm thinking, okay, last time around. So I'm like, okay, just make the race. What we didn't know is apparently we had 7 or 8 or 9 minutes left to finish that lap to finish the race and have.
There was no course on hand signals beforehand.
Yeah, we had no idea what she was telling us, but we thought it was like, go faster, and we would have loved to. But it was the last lap. We come through and we limp the thing all the way around, doing a decent pace, like the same as we had all race, but no pullover for overheat this time. We get to that last straightaway, open the truck up to rip through the finish line. It's like anything. Once you know you're done, shove it to the floor and
beat the hell out of it.
Yeah, put on a show for the crowd across the finish line or something. At least make some noise. So we get the checker flag. We find out in the pits later, I think we were 1 minute and 57 away from the 2-hour limit. So that's what that's what this signal was, the last lap.
Speed the hell up. You're not going to make it.
Yeah, get going. You don't have enough time. So it ended up, we finished 5th. Based on, we were the 5th fastest truck to finish all the laps, which is how the point structure works. So Carl Knack won. JP got 2nd. I believe Dustin was 3rd, and then Bill was 4th, I believe. And then we finished 5th. TMR didn't finish their last lap, so I believe they were in 6th place. They finished 12 of the 13 laps. And then it goes further down from there based on most laps finished. So if you don't, it's the fastest of the 13, but if you don't finish the 13, it's the most laps finished. So we ended up 5th. So we were pretty happy with that. I mean, I was happy to drive out the other
bringing
side.
the truck out, it finishes all the laps. We had some problems, but we finished them all.
Yeah, we got it done.
We've had races where we don't finish them
Oh
all.
yeah, we've long been checkers or wreckers team. Like we typically are somewhere near the front or broken somewhere. So we were happy to finish, get the truck there, and you know that comes a little bit with age. I think we're a little bit more responsible team now, and not always about putting on the show. But you know, we realize it's a long season. It's a 5-race season, and there's a lot of guys out there that we know are super experienced, and they're probably way over favorites, but we want to be in the mix. We want to be in the mix all year if we can. And if that means not pushing the truck as hard as we can, but trying to stay in that top 4 or 3 position somewhere in there, most races, or keep the truck together.
Or first, whatever.
Yeah. If we're having a great day, I mean, the goal is to get this thing on top of the box, right? So
keeping in mind, Mike has to go to work Monday.
Yeah. If we're having a great day and we can push the thing, we'll judge that. But, we're not going to come out of any of these starting gates driving like it's the last lap and we're 2 minutes behind. It's not what we're going to do.
Too old for that.
Yeah. Next race, so the finishing order determines the starting order for the next race. So the next race is July 19th in Minden at Ray's Place. And so we're starting, it depends. Carl kind of said he might not be there. So if he's not there, we'll start 4th. If he's there, nut up, Carl, show up. Hopefully he comes there. We'll be starting 5th, and TMR I think is right behind us. So that type of race, and obviously there's fast guys in front of us. So that type of race is very tight, wooded, muddy, which is the challenge for Carl. He runs a 37-inch tire. He's IFS, low belly. It's a tough race on his car for sure.
But he's got some experience to back it up.
We get it, but Carl can drive good enough to equalize that. At some point, if the mud's deep enough, I get it. You can't, you just can't drive around a truck with 42-inch tires when you got 37s on.
Yeah, fair enough.
But he's a good enough driver. I think he can make up the difference. And it's like we said, it's just fun to have him out there. So hopefully he's there. And Bill Gallet, we know he's putting his motor together, so he's going to be there. So that's always going to be fun before, after, and during the race.
Bill's always a good guy to race against.
Yeah, Bill's so much fun to have out there. And there's probably a couple other guys coming that weren't at the first one. This is Minden's more trees, mud, rock, whatever Mother Nature can throw you. There's a lot of rock.
Yeah, we've never raced Minden.
Yeah, we went to watch a couple
never
years ago. I've seen videos. I've seen it look like a mud bog last year. Hopefully it doesn't rain. If the mud's on the course, you got to go through it. But ideally, like we haven't even cleaned this truck. We would love to come back from every race dealing with this. It just makes it so much nicer for working. But that's not the reality of the sport we're in, If we want to do that, we'd race e-bikes or something. I don't know.
I'm not racing e-bikes.
I'm not racing e-bikes either. So we're gonna get a little dirty, a little muddy, have some damage for sure. But overall, we got a new THOR converter being built right now. We're gonna come in with a pretty low stall, see how we like it. We actually have 2 THOR converters available to us, so we're gonna come in with a low stall, see how it is. The motors should have more than enough power to pull itself up. Waiting on a steering pump from PSC. TMR tells us that'll be here somewhere first week of July. With Canada Day getting in the middle, it kind of throws that off, backs it up a little bit with the holiday. But we'll get that in. Some rear suspension to work on.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's still just discovering, what the truck needs, what work we got to do, what tweaking.
It's one step at a time, really. Yeah,
we're going to be all season trying to figure this truck out. I mean, if you build those guys that go to the King of the Hammers with a brand new truck, I don't know how they, well, I know how they do it. Lots of money and lots of guys. I mean, you got to do that with a crew of 10, 15 guys, double, triple checking everything and have the best parts available, and they're all brand new. But we've seen over time, like, brand new parts fail too. There's lots of guys showed up with, like, just ultra expensive trucks, King of the Hammers, and 8 miles in, they're dead on the side of the trail somewhere. You know, and lots of times it comes down to driver, but...
Who was it, the NASCAR driver? I don't want to call him out. But...
Robbie Gordon, yeah. Robbie Gordon's tried that race so many times, and Robbie Gordon's amongst the best drivers in the world, man. And he's, you know, he's driven everything. He's won Dakar, I think. He's won Baja 1000. He gets the King of the Hammers, and he's had some of the best spotters in his car.
Speaking of which, I don't mean to cut you off on something I just started, but
yeah.
Lauren Healy and the drifting guy, Von Gittin Jr.
Yeah.
You seen those fucking...
Yeah, those guys
Broncos?
are fucking animals. Yeah. And
The
what?
Broncos they just built,
That's
those
a good
things are
looking truck.
insane.
Yeah. Yeah, like when you get down there, you're talking the best of the best. So we get why those guys can show up with a fresh truck. But I mean, you see stories all the time. If you watch some of the back footage online, you see stories all the time. They get down there, they're swapping a motor or changing a transmission or doing something because something failed. I mean, it can be as simple as missing a fitting, man.
Yeah, they have the infrastructure to do it though.
Yeah, they have the team, they have the help, they have the backing. You know, we're just...
And they are amazing drivers. I'm not putting that down.
Yeah, those guys are
whatsoever.
Yeah. So it just goes to show, like, you can spend as much as you want. It doesn't mean you're sure to finish, and it doesn't mean you're sure to win. You know, even the TMR series, there's some, you know, pretty good dollar trucks out there right now, but there's a lot of mid-level to even, like, I wouldn't say they're low-level trucks, but low-level compared to the top trucks. And they're driving around them. So, you know, as long as you can meet the tech and you get out there, you're in the race, man. There's, you know, my brother-in-law, Chris Knight's driving his old rock crawler, and it's got planetaries in it, and that thing tops out at, I don't even know what, probably 42 mile an hour. It's not fast. But he drives around a lot of broken shit. So, you know,
He still gets up there in the points too.
Yeah, our old rock crawler, for anybody that knows or has followed us, the Rhino buggy was well known rock crawling around here, but we sold it to Mark Buckman, and I'm like, man, I know Chris is racing his, but it's not really a racer. But he did well last year in some races just because he finished. It was durable. He made it through the races. He drove around the broken stuff, you know, so don't think that, you know, you see some stuff out there, like our truck's pushing 700 horsepower, but there's tons of times we can't use it, and there's times it's a detriment. So just because if you're out there with a truck with a TBI 350 or something and it meets tech, don't think that, oh, I can't, you know, look at these guys, look at the truck they have. Man,
you still have a blast.
Yeah, you're going to have fun. The people are great. And if you know your truck and you can keep it together, you're going to be placing in the top half of the field. There's just always half of the field takes himself out of the race, probably. Yeah, most times.
It's usually us.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna have your trail rig with the cooler strapped on the back, driving around us mid-race. We're gonna be sitting off to the side, going, It's normally Mike yelling at the mic. I told you, stupid, to back off a little bit. But it is what it is, man. Once you get racing, it's hard. You know, the peer pressure is one thing. There's no pressure like your buddy driving around you. He doesn't even say anything to you, but once he goes around you, that's the biggest pressure you're going to feel, because you want to run that guy down and catch him, and that'll break a truck faster than anything. So,
that's part of racing, though.
Yeah, it's part of racing, and it's what makes it fun. And 9 times out of 10, there's 4 guys coming over trying to help you. So, everybody's great. The series is really good. We're looking forward to it. Happy to be back. We had a lot of things kept us away. But it's good to be back. I love seeing the guys. I love the chirping. Any of the spectators or fans, if you want to call them, that are out there, if we're in the pits, man, we are so friendly to talk to people. We've done it most of our off-roading career or hobby. You know, we love talking to people, and as long, you know, if the truck's broken, we're working on it. Sometimes we might not have all the time in the world to talk to you. But if we're there and it's after race and we're just sitting there, come over, say hi, man. We'd love to talk to you. It's so much fun, and really, like for us, it's really about the volunteers and TMR and the sponsors of the series and stuff like that make it so we can race. But it's the fans and the spectators and everything that are going to come out that make those guys and the sponsors and the volunteers want to keep doing this and want to continue forward. The more they see you out there, the more they're going to put on, and the bigger it's going to get, and the more fun we can have out there. So it's don't ever be afraid. And everybody in the series, as far as I'm concerned, is that way. You can catch a guy on a bad day with a broken truck. We can be that way too, where we don't have time to talk, or maybe we just blew up a motor. And, I'm thinking about what that's going to cost, so I'm not as chatty as I might be. But overall, come on over. And
I have not met a single rude, arrogant person in this racing series. In off-road racing, period. Yeah,
it's a different animal, this sport. We're at war when we're out there and the engines are running, but as soon as you come off, you're sharing stories about the guy could have took you out, and you're talking about how fun it was when you're racing.
And they'll be the first people over there helping you.
Yeah.
When you're messed up on the side.
Yeah, everybody, is good. They apologize, and it makes it fun when you're out there racing. The guys aren't, there's no malintent or anything. They're just out there pushing hard just like you, and these things are basically open wheel. Shit happens, man. It happens out there, and it happens fast, and sometimes you don't even know why. It just goes wrong. But anyways, we're hoping to see everybody. Hopefully we can get fans back and crowds out and stuff the rest of the summer. I mean, that's
a big part of it.
It's back, hopefully a bit back to normal. I know for us out racing, it felt a little more normal. Seeing everybody and out there pushing the truck.
What is normal?
Exactly. We have no idea what normal is going to be, but it'll be. July 19th, like we said. We're going to be up in Minden, Ray's place. Check out TMR Off-Road Racing Series. You can either check them out on Facebook or look them up on the web. You'll see the schedule, points, everything. If you want to check out our team, THOR Motorsports on Facebook or THOR Motorsports on Instagram. We got stuff on there. We usually post pictures, videos, updates, stuff like that. And also EH Media. If you want to see some wicked pictures of off-road trucks in Ontario, go to those guys. It's Eugene that started that, and he gets out there, but he's got a couple people taking pictures for him, and some of the shots they're getting, man, it means so much to us, because when we're in the truck, we can't do anything about it.
We can't see anything.
And those guys are out. We have the memories from racing, but those guys are creating wall hangers for us. So the people out there taking photography and video and stuff, you're hard on my truck, because every time I see a camera, I shove it down a little further. But and he gives me shit for it on the radio.
I can attest to that.
So, you guys are hard on my truck, but thanks a lot too. Anyways, we'll hopefully we see you. We can have fans July 19th. If not, we'll see all the racers out there. And if you guys like this kind of content, we'll do another video, get it out there. And if there's any other racers, that want to be a part of something like this after a race or something, we'll fire it up. And,
that would be cool.
Yeah. Some of the guys, I don't know a lot of the guys in the mod or stock class, but if we're at a race and you had something phenomenal happen during the race, or you got a story, or you're just excited to talk and come have a beer, come on over. We'll figure it out. We'll fire this stuff up in the trailer. Yep. And we'll talk for half hour or whatever and put it out there. I mean, everybody's got a fun story and everybody's got a different experience. So we look forward to it and have a lot of fun out there. And like we said, if you see us in the pits, come say hi.